showing the expression, showing, even if you're on the phone, your voice can be animated. It
Correct, you
grows.
can see the tone
Yeah.
of what they're saying.
But if you are just like typing and post the message,
Sarcasm, right? People don't want to say sarcasm, it's like someone's sarcastic. It's like they might say something, but they almost mean the opposite. Like you could say good job, oh, good job. Like see like the difference. Like someone does a good job if you're really sincere, say, oh, good job, really great job. You say, oh, good job. Like it's like you're being sarcastic, right? So that's the problem. Sometimes there could be misunderstandings too. But I think too what would be a problem is that people could start gossiping or saying nasty things about other people that aren't there. And then later it gets back to that person. And then there could be very so there could be a lot of embarrassing things happening. So what might be some solutions? Like Lily, you were raising that, things people get carried away. Is there anything that you feel that you could do to counteract that? Like what would be helpful? Or another way of putting the question, what would be good ways of using it? What do you think, like in terms of social media? What are some of the do's and don'ts? Maybe that might be a good way of putting it. What are the do's and don'ts of using social media?
you still need that to communicate, right? Because if now that it's say you can like tell me to just forget about texting, I don't think I can do that. But like a limit, if you sit down and you say, okay, a limit tonight, I'll just do like 15 minutes chatting and stuff, and that's it, and then get back to homework, and then when I'm done, we'll see from there.
Yeah. I think that's a good, to keep a certain limit on it, to just say, okay, maybe I'll do 15 or half hour, but then you really have to stick to that, and then if you have an assignment to do, you really have to get to that. I can see where that could happen, suddenly it's 10 o'clock at night, and you haven't started, and you have to write a little essay for history or English.
Because I'm as a parent, I always have a limit on screen use for my children.
There is no
so
limit.
that
You
so
just
that
take it away.
is like
We don't have any.
so that I can set a limit, and that's how I can.
The limit is
share
taking
that.
it away for the rest of the day. And let alone the rest of the week.
Oh, that's what happens to you?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't even have it during the week. My mom just takes all my stuff during the
But
day.
is that good though? Do you see, is there something good in that?
No, there's nothing.
Because
to do.
you'll
Nothing
always
good in
be
that.
lonely.
Yeah.
But why? Why is it taken away? Like, is it?
Because I mean, like, I took a class last year. It was like helping you to succeed in school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the kind of learner who needs to have a break every like 45 minutes, half an hour kind of range or so. And then what am I going to do in between that? I'm like, that uses my brain in a way that I don't want it to use when I'm not working. So. And
Well, could there be
then
other ways of having a break though? Then? Right. Okay. That's fine. That's good. I think we'll have to recognize what our patterns are. If you need a certain break, you're saying like maybe like a 10-minute break.
Yeah,
Like work 45 minutes and then 5 to 10 minutes.
Like I do get water or something.
Yeah, get water,
Yeah,
walk around the
something,
house.
something like that.
Maybe listen to music. I find that maybe listening to music helps.
I guess, but and then when I listen to music, my mom thinks I'm watching YouTube.
No, at first that we don't want him to just attach to an iPad. But later on, Matthew find that even though during his time doing homework, he listened to music, and that helped him. I don't know how. Some people can do it, like focusing doing homework and music on
at the same time.
Some that can't. I cannot do it, so that's why at
So
first
you turn
I
it
say no, you can't. Later on, we kind of okay, I'll let you do it as long as you get your homework done.
I find it's something that's sort of routine. Like if I'm paying bills, doing stuff like that, I'll put music on. There's something that requires a lot of thought, and I don't. But time, I think what we're talking about here then is time management, right? How do we best use our time? It's like a budget. Just like if you have a certain amount of money, and if you spend it all on one thing, then you don't have anything left over. Like if someone, let's just say if you have $100 that you could spend over the course of a weekend, let's just say $100. But now if you go out and you go to some restaurant and you spend $90 of it, and you only have $10 left. It's likewise with time. If you're going to spend the bulk of it on uvu, then there isn't much time left, and you have a science test the next day. Then you don't have much left over to study for your test. So it's how do we budget? How do we budget our time?
Yeah, that's a big problem for young people nowadays. For the teens, for the big kids. It's a big problem.
Oh, big problem, time management.
Very big.
Exactly, no, exactly. So I guess it was easier back years ago because we didn't have all, like in my room, I just had the bed and a desk and a little dresser. And there was no, it was a big thing when I got a radio in my
I don't
bedroom.
even have a desk in my room anymore.
Yeah. Ah, so you don't have a desk. But you have a place where you could study then?
Yeah, downstairs, where
Oh.
it's very noisy.
Agreed.
We're right across the kitchen, where people socialize
Yeah, and
cook,
then Alan's
and they make
thing.
noise.
So it's a little distracting.
With the desk,
Yes,
like
you
You
get
get to a little corner.
So maybe you could find.
You get to a little corner. What's that?
Not
I
that
had my
single
desk
one, but still.
upstairs, and then after a while they said it wasn't working, so they brought it down.
The desk can't work. How can a
Oh,
desk
Oh,
not
because you were
work?
concerned that he'd be too, like in his room,
Yeah.
and doing other things.
We're doing in phase, like we're giving a try and error thing.
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's move to a library where, we have a library in the house.
Yeah,
Let's move to the library, and if you're still doing well on your own, responsible on your own,
I did
then,
well even before I was working in the library.
then, we'll have the desk in your own room, because sometimes we just can't really, knowing if they are doing the work or they are, take a longer break.
right. So how do you feel about that then, when the desk was
I
removed?
feel offended. He doesn't trust me.
So everything's a balance. See, everything's a balance where it has to be some control from your parents, but on the other hand, you are getting older, and then decisions to make your own choices. But everything's a balance. It's never right. And then, but as you get older, there'll be more and more choice that you'll have. But parents do have a responsibility to, at times, take control of certain situations. It becomes a balance. Because if it's, I've seen it, and this could be a real problem. Some parents, maybe it could be because they're so busy with their own lives, that the children have complete say in what they do. The parents don't get involved at all, and there could be chaos and problems.
I think with
So,
time management, you learn it as you grow up, because when you're a kid, you don't have as many after school activities, you don't have as much homework, so it doesn't need time management at all. Like, I know when I was younger, I had like zero homework and I just kind of goofed off, but now that I'm in high school, I actually have a lot of things to get done, so it kind of falls in naturally. And it's also the habits that I learned as I grew up, like keeping a planner is really helpful. So being organized is definitely something that will help, but it also depends on who you are, because I know I'm a very organized person, so I need something to remind myself of what I need to do and the time slots I have. But with other people, you just have to figure out what works for you. And about time management with parents, I think you have to let your kids learn by yourself, because in college and in life, your parents will not be there to manage your life, so you need to figure that out by yourself too.
okay, but then I think for some students, though, they'll get to college, and let's say if they didn't have any.
But it's like a mixture of both.
It's
like,
a mixture, right? That's what I'm
you
saying.
can't-
That's
yeah,
the
you
point.
can't have
It's
your parents like write your schedule for you.
exactly. No, that's what I was saying before. It's a balance between the two.
But it also depends on the person.
But then, of course, as you get older, then it's less and less of your parents and more of yourself. And especially if you go away to school, your parents aren't living in your dorm room with
I
you.
think some people are more independent than others, so they don't need that guidance, because I don't think I need my mom mom to manage my schedule for me, but I think other people need that help, so they need to be able to ask for that help and recognize that they have issues.
I would agree with that, there's variations, right?
Yeah.
Some people are more organized, and then others aren't, because some people go to college. I consult at Fairleigh Dickinson, and I see college students, and some are not organized at all, and they're failing out, because they barely study, they're partying, they don't,
I think it's
or they don't have the, so time management and discipline. Discipline is the other thing.
I agree with Anne. I can speak for our case, that I know as the more you older, you show responsibility and you gain that privilege. You gain the right to develop your autonomy, your own control. Like Gabrielle is smaller, so we need to watch her more.
Yeah.
But she's more responsible.
And
Like
you
Matthew
trust her
is
more
growing
than
up. Matthew is growing up now that we don't even need to follow the plan, the school, they plan that they have anymore. He's on his own now. He know the homework, whatever he needs to do. But like a few years back, I check his schedule, what you've done in school every day, and what have you complete so far. But in the whole year, past year, and this year that we just, okay, you're on your own, you can manage it, you're great, at the end of a quarter is great, that's good. So I'm just, that's work. So that is for the younger kids, that the more older you get, the more responsibility you show that you can handle it, then your parents gonna be, off guard. I mean, your parent won't breathe, down your neck anymore. As long as you get your work done, you show that you got your grade, you got all the work done, then you have your freedom, your independence, and those are earned from all the work that you do on a daily basis. Like for my kids, I'll let them.
Yeah, that's true. I think of myself when I was in elementary school. We had what's called an assignment pad, so all the homework that we had to write down in this pad, and our parents had to initial that we did it, and they would check the homework. But by the time I got to high school, I pretty much just did everything myself. My parents really weren't involved. Then I went to college. I went away to Boston, and I was totally on my own. But the skills that I had, I think earlier on then with my parents, like that help from elementary school, then it sort of sets the path. It sets the path. But I think in the long run, being organized really, really helps. That's important in life. That's a really good skill, to be organized. I think to make lists of things, so whether you write it or whether you do it on your phone or your iPad, I think keeping lists of what you have to do can help. But time management, very, very, very important. What other issues? Any other issues that people have that we could chat about? Or there might be some areas of concern.
Anybody have social anxiety?
That's a good one. That's a very, actually that's something that I see a lot of. Do people know what that is when they say social anxiety? Do people know what that is?
Yeah.
What is
You
social?
all understand what social anxiety means? Bác sĩ Dung just bring up. What does that mean to you? Cô hỏi Yi myself not quite clear about that. So if you are sharing what your thought, you just learn from one another. To you, what does it mean? Like speaking, making friends.
Just say not fitting in.
Not being in,
Yeah, that's the fear that you're not going to be fit.
not being accepted.
Similar to what was said before about being judged, the fear of how others would judge them. Yeah, because that's something I see a lot of in my practice, actually, social anxiety, where people feel very uncomfortable in social situations. So for some people, let's say if someone came to a group like this and they barely knew anyone here, they would be very anxious. Or going to a party. Or I don't know if some of you, like, let's say if you're invited to someone's birthday party, it's like someone's house. And you might know a few of the people, but then there'd be other people there that you don't know. You would feel very nervous to the point of maybe not wanting to go. Or if there's someone that you want to talk to, like making conversation with someone, there could be a lot of anxiety. And that's where people get those. And a lot of the symptoms are, again, because it's perceived as a danger. Remember before we talked about the fight or flight response. So the body sees it as a danger. So when there's danger, it triggers this response. The heart might start pounding, boom, boom, and breathing a little heavier, sweating. So there could be physical symptoms. And emotionally, it's like people feel what's called apprehensive, like you're nervous, you're on guard. So that's something that people could relate to. They have the social anxiety. Again, that's where bringing your mind to changing the channel can help. So you're feeling nervous, but again, it's just bring yourself back to the present moment. That's where focusing on the breathing can help. Okay, change the channel, think of something positive. Yeah, so I think that can help. If you focus.
And you can see that, expectation from the parent and the kid, what they expect from the parent and what parent expect from them. That's bring out the stress for them as well, and the stress for the parent as well.
So like the children, maybe they're having different expectations of something. Like what might be an example of that? Do you have an example?
Well, we expect the kid, you have to do something, A, B, C, D, and if you're not achieve with that, and they kind of disappointed, something like that. And the kid opposite to that, they say, okay, I expect the parent have to let me, play game here and there, and do things that I want to do. But don't think that's build up stress for parent and the kid as well.
Right. Where sometimes there's a disconnect.
Yes.
Like what the parents want or what their expectations might be different from what the kid wants. Yeah, they might see things differently. Or, it's because in life then there's things that we have to do. Like, so let's say parents realize they have to do their homework, there's certain assignments. Maybe there's chores that have to be done, the parents need help. So maybe they want the child to vacuum or to take out the garbage. And the child would rather be on Uvu. So it's taking out the garbage or going to Uvu. So there's a conflict here. There could be a conflict.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest.
And that may be sometimes that disconnect the kid from the parents as well.
Right.
Where they not there.
And there has to be a balance, right? It can't be all work and then it can't be all play either, so it becomes a balance, right? So it's trying to be a balance. Because the child might want, let's say there's certain chores, right? Do you have chores? Do any of you have, like, where you're supposed to take out the garbage, or we might have to do vacuuming?
One goal.
But they're always complaining about
No.
it.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it.
So
That's no balance.
Yeah, I was here the whole
So
entire
instead of
time.
bringing groceries when you first come home, you stay in the car for 20 minutes. Text whoever you want to text. Finish your phone call for like
That's
another
reverse of
half an
mine.
hour.
Before we
And
leave,
then-
we stay.
You go come in and tell us that we have to go bring your groceries.
Oh, so you're saying mom does that?
Occasionally.
Okay. Oh, so I see, so you just come home from shopping,
She stays in the car.
and then she'll stay in the car
Call her
texting,
friend and then she texts.
and she'll
And then
text.
she comes in. Okay, everyone come outside, bring the groceries.
Sometimes she texts me.
Well, you know what, there could be some situation that she needs to
She's
respond
so
to.
busy.
But then at that point,
Yeah.
yeah, but at that point,
At the moment she get in there, she have to.
but you don't need mom to take the, you can take the
No, that's when I'm
groceries
doing
in.
homework. I'm
Take
Oh,
away
wait, you weren't with her, so
not-
she arrives home.
Yeah.
Okay, but at
Drive
that
to
point,
have
that could be
you
your
guys.
break. See, you said you need a break, so that could be your break from the homework that you could. See, everything's a balance. So right, you have your studies, but then at that point, the groceries are an issue too. So we need to learn to balance. We're all in the family together, and especially as you get older, then you have to share things. Or I think what's an important thing in a family would be anticipating what the needs are. So at that point, mom needs help. So then helping, but then again, at times, mom has to realize that you need, let's say, a break. So it becomes a mixture. But at that point, I think a great thing to do would be to be able to do things without being asked or that you have to be told many times. So let's say like once the groceries come in, they have to be taken from the car to the kitchen. So if there's a way of just doing it, because it's something that mom went shopping, but then everyone in the family benefits from those groceries. So it's not just mom's groceries, those are the groceries for the whole family. So that would be part of what Buddha talked about with the right attitude, right? So that's part of the Eightfold Path.
He did
It's
that
the right-
to his mom. Everything. Including the nail. He-
Oh, you're saying with the, yeah, well now she's old. Yeah, my mom's going to be 90. She'll be 90 years
And
old this
he's,
year. So
still
now she
helping
can't cut her
that-
nails, so I'll help her with that.
That's one thing that you guys should think about the mother, the father, work so hard. And just a little something, make them so happy.
But I realize, but at that moment, let's say you're in the middle, or let's say you're doing uvu, and then mom comes home with the groceries. You'd rather stay with, you would rather do the uvu at that moment than to go outside, or it's cold, or in the summer, it's very hot, and taking the groceries in.
It's like Skype.
Yeah.
So, I understand that at that moment, you'd rather be doing uvu, but, uvu, am I pronouncing it right?
Yes.
Uvu, uvu.
It's just the word sounds really.
Like uvu.
Yeah.
But you'd rather be doing uvu than carrying in the groceries. But that would be the right attitude. At that point, there's a need. So you could say in a family there's love. Love is responding to need, right? So if there's a need, you see it and you respond. And I think that's generally the right attitude, right? That when there's a need, you respond to it. So at that moment, your mom needs help with the groceries. So at that point, even though you would rather be doing uvu or playing the video game, or you're on the phone with your friend, but just say, look, my mom needs help, I'll call you back in a few minutes. And then just go down and just bring in the groceries. That would be something, that would be part of right attitude. Then at the end, you feel good, everyone feels good. So it's like, your parents are happy, you brought in groceries that you're gonna be eating, so it's good stuff that's coming in. So it's part of having right attitude. But sometimes we have to switch, something that we might not want to do, but we do because there's a need. There's a need. Or then as you get older, like myself, it might be suddenly it's the end of a long day, and then a patient calls and they're in need. At that point, I'd rather go home, I'd rather eat, but then there's a need, so you take care of it. But at your stage in life right now, it's maybe something in the family, like where there's a task to do, just do it. It's like your gift. It's your gift to the family. And then you'll feel good about it. Because then what happens then, if mom or dad is nagging you, we said 10 times, take out the garbage, just do it, at that point, I think it's important to do it. And that's part of the right attitude. So that is part of the Eightfold Path.
Also build the trust, and then they will trust you guys. The parent will trust and love. So whatever you want, they will let you. Natural.
Yeah.
I want to bring this up something. There's some children here, maybe in between, not very smart, some very smart, and some below. Could you talk about something like how your intelligence, your smartness, you're so good? It would be benefit first for you, for others. That's the good attitude. But if sometimes you use your smartness, your intelligence
To share.
destroy others, you suppress somebody. It's
No, I
the
agree with
seed
that.
and the fruit
Right.
will And at the end, they have to pay a very high price.
We all have different
The law
gifts.
karma.
We have different gifts.
Yes.
Right, so each person, so some people are gonna be very, very smart. They'll get high grades, straight A's, and they could do it pretty easily.
Yeah.
They'll get, other people might be very good in sports.
Yeah.
So they could do swimming, they're really good, they could be the fastest swimmer. You know, other people might be funny, so they're able to tell jokes and get everyone to laugh. You know, they have gifts like that.
We all just look at it.
So, no, we all have gifts, different gifts.
Bring
Um,
it on, give to others.
But the key is, I think people do best when they're able to share that. And that's what, actually Buddha talked about that too. That's what he called metta, is that love, that loving kindness.
Dana.
And how do we do that? We do that by responding to need. So if someone has that gift of being really smart, then maybe that's where you could help another student. You know, explain something. So remember when I was in school, you know, I had that gift that I generally did very well in school. So the teacher often would make me go out in the hallway with another student, and then they were having trouble, and I would have to explain that to them, or sometimes helping others with their homework. But then maybe I wasn't as good, let's say in basketball, but someone else then would play. Remember I had a basketball hoop at my house, and we'd come and they would show me some moves, and we would practice, and so I would help them, but then they would help me. So realize that none of us are perfect. So we're gonna have some gifts, but then we're also gonna have things that maybe we're not as good at. So the key is being able to give help, but then also being open to have others help us. You know, that there's a certain humility, and realizing that it's all okay. That we have to accept that. You know, that we're not going to be good. So maybe we're not going to be as smart as someone else, or we might not be as good in sports, or we might not be as funny. We might not be able to tell a joke and get the whole crowd to laugh as other people might. So different gifts. We all have different gifts. So I think the key is to be able to share that, and I guess not to make fun of others. And that's metta. That's the whole thing of loving kindness. So Buddha, there's the meditation piece, but then also the loving kindness piece of it. Really, if you do that, it's like so much of what he taught is just if you're being in the present moment, but then also being able to see the needs of others and being able to respond to it with loving kindness. And loving kindness, I think, for me, it would be to share our gifts. How do we share our gifts with someone else? Just be able to see a need. So whether it's a student who's having
without
some
the
trouble.
giving, you waste your lifetime.
Yeah.
You cannot keep what your talent. You're going to lose it somehow, somewhat. So the Buddha say you have to give quarter of what you got, and even the money, your love, your kindness. Without it, you're going to lose it one day.
Right,
By
everything is fleeting.
disaster,
Everything's
by
fleeting. That's
disease, by
Old age.
a lot of teenage now, stroke, 19 years old stroke, and cancer,
true. Drugs.
drug, go
Depression.
destroy you. If you love somebody they don't love, but you go to another guy. You like that? And I see so many. And so, just reminds, you talk a little out. The law of karma, if you are smart, you're pretty, you're handsome, you're not smart, whatever. Remember, you're talented. If you don't donate, or be kind to others, you're going to lose it, I guarantee you. By disaster, by disease, by, what is that,
Robbery.
Yeah,
Burglar. Yeah.
what else my teacher said, this teacher, before he passed away, they say, remind everybody, disaster after that disaster, the war cannot stop, new disease, and then
Hate this daytime.
you whatever you got, you're going to lose it. So
Everything's
Please.
temporary. Great, everything,
yeah,
everything that we have is temporary. But then again, that's good news, because
It's
if you're going
beautiful.
through a rough
Yeah,
time, that's temporary too.
yes.
So let's say in
Rough time
school,
is a temporary.
school's gonna end, then you're gonna graduate, then you go from middle school, you're gonna be in high school, then you go to college.
Everything
Then you're
changes.
done with college, you're done with school, then you're working, and everything changed. So if you're going through a rough time, it's temporary, it's gonna end. Or let's say if you're having struggles with parents, you're not gonna
It's
be with them
temporary.
forever. There'll be a point that you'll go off to school, and for
And
many
then
people, once they go to
you lack.
school, then they're never full-time with their parents. Sometimes people come back, then at that point, people might get married, have their own house. So everything changes, so I'm saying everything changes, good and bad. But what we have is this moment,
Yeah.
this very moment.
Let's
We don't
talk a
know.
little bit about sexual. This
Ah,
is the time. It's very powerful. It's
Yeah.
very powerful.
very
And it can
powerful.
destroy you if it, in the internet now with all kinds
Oh,
of things. Sometimes I take oh, what is it? I didn't know. I didn't
No,
know
it's a
it.
huge
I
issue.
don't know what
It's a
happened.
huge
And I
issue
said, oh
today.
God, with the
Which we didn't have years ago, you didn't have
We
the
don't have
internet.
that.
So,
And it's very powerful.
so that's very, very powerful. Like anything when we say sexual could be a source of great pleasure, but also a source of a lot of dukkha, a lot of,
Yeah,
a
I
lot
worked for
a
STD
lot
for
of
41
pain.
years, children.
yeah.
I know,
STD
more than
are-
100
Those are diseases that people could get through sex. Could
A
get.
little fun, but yet, oh dear.
If it's not done right, there could be disease.
So,
So everything has to be done, everything's a
yeah,
balance,
balance.
everything's a balance.
Careful.
What I would say the bottom line with that is that you really don't do anything that you feel that you're not comfortable with. Don't ever feel pressured that you have to do something
Remember
that
children?
you're not,
Girls especially.
right, that,
Even boys.
don't ever feel pressured. And if you feel uncomfortable, you say no, say no.
Learn how to say
I'm
no.
sure in school too, they talked about that if anything's ever inappropriate with something, you always report that to someone. And I think that's where parents, remember, your parents have experienced this. So if ever there's a question or a problem, always feel free to go to your parents. Even if you might feel a little bit uncomfortable with that, I would still ask your parents, because they've been there, they've gone through the same thing. They were your age at one time too, they've experienced it. So your parents, and then too, you might have an aunt or an uncle or someone else that you might go to too, who might be able to give advice, or someone, maybe a teacher at school.